Hello, my friends. How are you? I'm Michelle, and this is my channel, Penny's Daughter Shares, where I talk primarily about cross stitch. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you see something that you like and would like to see again. If you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I appreciate every time you decide to use that time. I keep saying time. Each time you use it to spend with me. If you do like what you see, please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. You can also tap the bell down below and it will notify you when I post new videos. I posted a video just a week ago. It was Flosstube 33. And I don't have a lot to catch up on except for what I want to talk about today. So I am just going to jump into it. If you are a returning viewer, are you here to see how my FFO March Madness turned out? Well, I have those results for you and I'm very excited to share it all. I'm going to start by putting my bracket up here. And what will be missing are the two finalists in the final round of voting, and the champion are not listed on here. So this is the way the bracket looked last week when I shared it on my Flosstube, with the final four and the final four FFOs that I had completed. That all four of these I shared with you in Flosstube 33. So if you're interested in the details of the FFOs themselves, and even the stitches, I give those details too, all of that is gone over in Flosstube 33. And then you can find most of the information you're looking for. If you still have questions, please let me know and I'll be happy to answer. Or at least try, because maybe they're not things that I can answer. Before we get to all the results, I want to say thank you so much for participating in all the fun that I've had with doing FFO March Madness. It's been fun seeing all the comments, and it's obviously been fun to have votes and to have some of you respond to me when your voted for item didn't move on or when it did. So thank you so much for participating. I had the bracket up a while. Now we're going to move on to our matchups and the vote receivers. You think after doing these for several weeks that I would be getting better at it, and I don't think I am. So hopefully I'm giving you at least a few good laughs in the meantime. So let's go on to the first semifinal matchup. Picture here. It is Hands-On Design, Berries in Bloom. I made this into a pillow using a kit from Simple Stitches Fabric Shop. And it was versing Abby Rose Designs Primitive Merry Christmas Pillow, which, no, you can't see that because it's in my background of my stitches and I have an inserted clip so you won't be able to see it. And this first semifinal matchup results I will show here. And as you can see, it was a decisive win for Abby Rose Designs Primitive Merry Christmas Pillow. And while I love this stitch, I am still surprised at the response I get from this particular project. So that's been part of the fun of this FFO March Madness, is to see what people vote for that maybe aren't my top choices. I don't even know if that's the right way to say it, because I obviously like all these projects because I wouldn't do them otherwise, right? So that was our first semifinal round, and Primitive Merry Christmas Pillow goes into the finals. The second semifinal round, which I'll show here, is Notforgotten Farms Bobbin Along, which I made into a drum. And that was versus Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread, Winter Rose Manor. And the first set of results of voting from this one resulted in overtime. So after the first day of voting on these two, it was exactly even. There wasn't even one vote of difference. So I decided to go into overtime again, like I did with one of the other earlier matchups. And so we had a second day of voting. Everyone got to vote again if you wanted, and I was hoping that there would be some more differences. Maybe a few extra people would vote, and that's what seemed to happen. And here are the results. So Winter Rose Manor won. It was very close all day. I kind of watched it throughout the day to see where it was going. And honestly, it was back and forth by 1 or 2 votes. And in the end, Winter Rose Manor ended up pulling ahead by several votes. It ended up winning by. And you can see the percentage difference here in the clip. I didn't write that down, so I can't possibly tell you that because I can't remember all that stuff. So there we have our 2 finalists. So here is our matchup for the finals. And this was the Abby Rose Designs, The Abby Rose Designs Primitive Merry Christmas Pillow. And it was up against Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread, Winter Rose Manor. And this one too was close through all the voting. And I think I misspoke on the last semifinal round. I think it ended up being only a couple of votes that Winter Rose Manor ended up winning by over Bobbin Along. With this matchup, it was close all the time, and I think it did go back and forth quite a bit, but just by 1 vote or so. And then in the end, here's our results, and Winter Rose Manor won in my entire FFO March Madness. So it is the champion. And I will show a picture here of it, just so that you can get another good look. And as you're watching my video today, you'll see that it's in my background too. So you'll still get lots of looks at it. So Winter Rose Manor is the champion. I am going to say thank you one more time for everyone who participated, because it was so much fun. And as I said, Winter Rose Manor was the champion, but I want to quote my friend Michelle, who gave me a comment about the final results. And what she said to me was that I am the real champion because I was able to accomplish so much throughout the month. And I thought that, well, first of all, that made me feel so good to hear someone else say that to me, but I was also feeling that myself. I am so proud of what I did over this month. I worked really hard at it to keep going and get a lot done. I originally thought that maybe I could fully finish. There ended up being 20 total projects because I had a couple of extra things combined in my original bracket. I thought maybe I could get all 20 fully finished before the end of the month. I did not do that. But I did get, let me see. Let me count my list. I ended up getting 14 of the 20 projects that were in my original bracket done within the month of March. I'd say that's a big, big win. Big goal accomplished. So thank you, Michelle, for giving me that thought that I was the real champion here. Biggest reason that I got so much done was all the encouragement and participation I had from everyone else. All of your kind words and your compliments and your cheers and all of it. So thank you, because I would not have gotten all this done without you. And included with that support system that I'm talking about, I am going to mention the FFO Challenge 2023. And those of you that have been continuing to use that hashtag and posting on Instagram, that also continues to feed my motivation too. So all of it worked together, and March turned out to be a really awesome month. Now that FFO March Madness is wrapped up and we have our champion, I want to talk or focus, I don't know. I'm going to discuss FFO Challenge 2023 a whole lot more in detail. And that I'm started with Jen from Two Tall Stitchers here on Flosstube, and she is also jenquilter on Instagram. And what I still can't remember quite exactly how it started, but I said something at some point about needing to do some FFOs, and she said, I do too, and let's work together on it. And so, and encourage each other. And so we had some conversations about it, and each came up with some ideas and made some plans together, came up with the hashtag of FFO Challenge 2023. And now we have been blown away by all the participation. I am going to give you my personal standings within this challenge and probably talk a little more about what it's done for me this year. I am such a numbers person. I want exact measurements. I want exact counts. Always. Like, I'm very detailed, and I don't know, again, I don't know how many of you know this, that I'm actually a CPA. I'm just not practicing that right now. I'm married to a CPA. Yeah, our kids didn't stand a chance, did they? Jeff and I differ in that I'm much more detail focused than he is, although on certain things he's extremely detailed. So he doesn't get off totally free from that sort of stereotype, I guess. All of that to say that I am a numbers person. And when we decided to start this challenge, I came up with a goal that was tied to a number of FFOs that I would accomplish over the year. and I broke it down by month. And so my original goal was 2 FFOs, fully finished objects per month for the year of 2023. That means 24 at full finishes by the end of the year. I have already accomplished my goal for the year, so I guess I'm done. Yeah, that's also not how I operate. So I set that goal up to set myself up for success, and it, instead of making me sort of lag behind or slack off, it just, knowing that I was accomplishing goals, I wanted to keep going. And that's really what March Madness did for me. So let's see. Yeah, I want to show you, I have several spreadsheets that I'm not going to show you, but I keep track of all my WIPs, all my kitted up projects. I also have separate pages within my workbook that I think I have a list of 2021 finishes. Then I know I have 2022 finishes listed in a spreadsheet. And then for 2023, with everything going on, I have a page for finishes. I have a separate page for FFOs. And then, if you remember, or if you're new here, I'll explain it again. When I originally set my goal of 24 full finishes for the end of the year, I had to make, for me, I had to make a priority list because I had more, way more, than 24 finishes waiting to be fully finished. So I also have that priority list typed up in a spreadsheet form so that I can keep track of what I'm doing. So it's probably overkill, but it's working for me. And so if you're laughing, I hope you're laughing with me. I like to be organized, and I like numbers, and I like keeping track, and that just keeps me going. You know, it helps with my motivation. So I have a monthly planner that I use. Other thing that I bought this year, and I'll show you my March in just a second, but I bought myself some star stickers. And I get one of those on my planner every time I have an FFO completed. So this feels like a little kid a bit, but like I said, it works for me and it's fun. So in my planner, before I hold it up, because it'll be hard to see it all, I list when I have FFOs done, I list when I have a new start, I list when I have a finish, and then each day I write down what I work on. So I have a lot of days where I say FFO, work on projects, because I may be working on multiple ones. And then on a particular project, I just write that down on the day I fully finish it. So here is my March, which is crazy. You see all my stickers? Haha. So that's what March looks like. And also on there's room on the side where I can list, and so I have ongoing list of my starts for the year, my finishes for the year, and my FFOs for the year, but it each goes with the month. So anyway, that's my planner. Just another way that I kind of keep track of things. And so I wanted to show you that because I'm a numbers person. And now let me give you a couple of stats. I have 30 FFOs as of the end of March. In 3 months, I have 30. Isn't that awesome? Ah! Okay. That was another sheet that I have in my spreadsheets or in my workbook is I have what I'm calling my finishes inventory, and it's just numbers. And basically I have a number from where I started at the beginning of the year, and then each month I put in a total number of finished stitches I have, and I add that to that number. And then I have a line for the number of FFOs I get done. I get to subtract from that number. So at any one time, I can look and see kind of where I stand and how many finishes I still have to do. And sometimes it's overwhelming because you think about how much work you've done and where you're at. So this part, if you start adding and subtracting, is a little embarrassing. My count of number of finishes that I have waiting to be FFO'd as of the end of March is 50, which is down tremendously. Now, I want you to keep in mind, some of those FFOs I just talked about in the number 30, I did several that were stitch finishes within the current year. So I did not start with 80 finishes to then now be at 50 FFOs, or I'm sorry, 50 is my balance right now. I have 6 finishes to share with you today, or 6 FFOs to share with you today. And actually one I just did yesterday, so I'm counting that in the month of April, but that would bring my total number of finishes waiting for FFO down to 49. Woohoo! So just wanted to update you on some of the numbers, the challenge, and it's working for me. And I was really excited to write those numbers down. And then as I'm saying them out loud to you, I'm like, I don't know if this is so great, but it is great. It is. I'm getting lots done. And I have some really fun things to show you. The first 4 FFOs I have to share with you are all related. You'll see why in a second. They were also one of the contenders within my March Madness, and I was able to get them fully finished within the month of March. And I'm going to start by showing you each of the chart pictures fairly quickly, and then I'll talk all the details. These are all from Jeannette Douglas Designs. Here is Jump into Spring. Then we have Soar into Summer. Fall into Autumn, which was actually the first one I stitched. And Cozy into Winter. Those are the chart pictures. And I will talk details as I'm showing you the full finishes. I'll say right now, for all 4, I used called for flosses. So we'll get that out of the way. Here is Jump into Spring. All of these are stitched on 32 count Zweigart Gray Gingham Murano, I think. That's what I've written down. And it's actually gray and white. And then I treated all of my fabric with Instant Antique Spray from Primitive Gatherings to give it an aged look and to make it not so bright white. And let's see, I think I'm going to show you Soar into Summer. Give that a couple of minutes here, and then I'll show the 2 of them together because a lot of what I did on these 2 are the same. So that is Soar into Summer. Okay. Both of these I backed with the same fabric. This is Tim Holtz. Yes, one of my favorites. It's part of Eclectic Elements, but I can't remember if it's a particular collection or not. So that's the back. And I think you can, if you look carefully, you can see here where I have my seam where I closed it up and used for my stuffing. So my backing of my pillows, I cut 2 separate pieces and then stitch them together and leave an opening back on the back, and then I hand stitched it closed. Okay. And let's see. Some of the other details of the finishes. Oh, they're all stuffed with Mountain Mist. And these 2, I put this piece of trim at the bottom. And I just hand sewed that on. And it's just a roll of trim from Hobby Lobby that I found. And I think it gives it a little something to these without taking away from the beautiful stitches, because I really wanted to feature all these specialty stitches with my full finishes. And then all 4 of these have this. I added ruching. It's the first time I did it, and I am in love, and I'm going to do it more and more and more. I went on YouTube and looked for tutorials on how to do ruching, and I've probably heard people talk about it and generally use seam binding ribbon, I want to call it that, or rayon ribbon, I think. But I did learn you can use any kind of ribbon you want. I happen to use, this is crinkled rayon ribbon, seam binding. I should know better what the details are before I try to tell you. Anyway, it worked awesome. And so I went on YouTube to find tutorials how to do ruching. And the one I followed specifically was Misty Purcell of Luminous Fiber Arts. Thank you, Misty, for putting up this tutorial video, by the way, because it took a lot of pressure off me and my perfectionist tendencies when this is supposed to be sort of messy. And you said several times in your tutorial how this is a very forgiving trim idea, and it is extremely forgiving. So I think that's really awesome. I will have a link down below in the description box to the video. Now in her video, she was using 2 pieces layered together of ribbon, and so I only used 1, so that was a difference, but otherwise, and I just followed her technique, and didn't they turn out awesome? And let me show you, I'm gonna show you the bottom. If you look really carefully, maybe you can see where I joined my 2 ends, but maybe not. And you know I love that. So like I said, this is very forgiving, and there was my doorbell. It's just a package, it's not a big deal. So that's Jump into Spring and Soar into Summer. All right, here is Fall into Autumn. I love these so much now that I have them done. Let me show you the back. This is basic gray grunge. Obviously it's polka dots, and I just can't remember for sure what they call it. I know it's called something, but in like this chocolate brown color. Love it. And so for my ruching, I chose like a chocolate brown. I think it looks so good. This piece of trim is also from Hobby Lobby on a roll. It was just something I had in my collection and it worked so awesome with this. The reason why I added this trim and made these a little longer is I wanted to make sure that when I have these on display that you can see all of those awesome specialty stitches. Where if I made my pillow end right here, you wouldn't necessarily see those very well. And I wanted those to be very much featured. So that is fall into autumn. And then the fourth one is cozy into winter. Here is the back of this one. This is another Tim Holtz fabric. This is part of his Christmas time collection, which if you remember the Santa face pillow that I made that my mom had stitched on a sweatshirt, I used this collection of fabrics to make that pillow. So clearly I like this. Decided on the red for the ruching. This is the same trim that I used on fall into autumn. I'll show those two together here in just a second. But that's cozy into winter, fall into autumn. And I just am so happy with these. Why did it take me so long to get them done? I just needed a challenge, I guess. So that is 4 more FFOs, and I would love to try to hold all 4 of them. Let's see. Well, you won't be able to see them because my hands will be in the way though. Here we go. 4 FFOs, woohoo! So those were really fun, and being able to, you know, do a new technique with the ruching and discovering that I liked it so much. These were really fantastic. So those are all from Jeannette Douglas Designs. And let's jump into spring one more time, since that's the season we're in, or at least that's the season we're supposed to be in right now. All right, so Jeannette Douglas represented 4 FFOs. I said I have 6 to share with you. So here is another one. I decided that I wanted to pull out a couple of my older spring stitched finishes that needed to be FFO'd. And so I pulled them out. The first one I'm going to show you is out of this issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. This is the spring 2021 issue. And then let me show you the chart, or I guess it would technically be the chart picture. And let me make sure I don't show you anything I'm not supposed to show you. There we go. So there you can see it is Teresa Kogut. And this is called Springtime Cottontail. And I fell in love with this when I first saw it because of there being very little color in it, I think is a good way to put it. I don't know, I really liked it because it wasn't all pink and pastels in it for spring. And that's just not really my usual style. And here is the full finish. Ta-da! Isn't it awesome? Oh, I love this and how it turned out. And I'm so impressed with my abilities now with basically lacing something and getting it even and straight and everything on the board. So let's see, we need to talk details. I stitched this on 36 count, nope, scratch that, it's crossed off. It is on 32 count Winter Brew from R&R. Since it's 32 count, that means that I choose to use 2 strands of floss over 2 linen threads. So I stitched this 2 over 2. I used all called for colors, which if I double check here, there's a few DMCs and a whole lot of Weeks Dye Works to get this cute little bunny together. Isn't it cute? Ah, now one change I did make, which I did just before I framed this up, is the little tail. Can you see that it's a little fuzzy? And I can't take credit for this idea. I'll show you the frame thing here in just a second, but I was showing it to Jeff, trying to figure out how to get this on there and how it would look good. And he suggested, because I was really debating on adding some trim to this, and nothing seemed to be working that I had. And also it felt like it was going to compete with the frame. So he said to leave it, try it with no trim at all, just get it done and then reassess. But let's add the fuzzy stitching. Could I make the tail like fuzzy? Well, I happen to have some of this from another project. So this is Whisper, and does it tell me the color on it? I guess it gives me kind of a color number. I want to say it's Ecru, but I don't know if that's for sure the color name on it. So it's definitely off-white. It's not white. And I added that. So the chart picture has just the bunny tail outlined. So I just went in there and added a few stitches of Whisper and made that fuzzy, and it's the perfect little added detail. And once I got this all put together, I don't need trim. So I think it looks pretty darn good. This piece is from Hobby Lobby. So let's see, I got the tag on the back. Oh yeah, I'll put that up so you can see it. You can screenshot it. And I'll show you how this looks, because even though I may not ever change this, I still like to use magnets. So here is what it looks like when you buy it, minus the magnets. And here is the back of my lacing with my washers to attach to the magnet. Sorry for the loud noise. Oh my goodness. But there she is. I love this. And how cool is it? I mean, I bought this just because I liked it and I thought it would be great for a finishing piece at some point. And the background color of it worked perfectly to go with this. Makes me so excited. So that is Springtime Cottontail from Teresa Kogut. It is in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, Spring 2021 issue. And that is FFO number 5 that I'm sharing with you today. Now on to the 6th FFO that I'm going to share with you today, and this makes 31 FFOs for the year 2023 so far. Here is the chart picture. B is for bunny from La-Di-Da. And again, not traditional springtime colors, but a springtime chart is why I fell in love with it. So that is the chart picture. And here is, ta-da, the full finish. Doesn't it look awesome? Oh, I could just look at it for a while. It's been in a drawer, so I haven't gotten to look at it much lately. Now I can look at it again. I just love, love, love the colors this is stitched in. Truly love it so much. And let's see, let's talk details. I stitched this on 36 count Winter Brew, which is from R&R. And I just want to make sure I'm telling you the right thing, because you can see I stitched this in 2021. And I remember specifically when I was finishing this was like April or May of 2021. And I had to look at it carefully to make sure that I stitched it the way I am now stitching on 36 count, which is 1 floss thread over 2 linen threads. And yes, that is how this is stitched. I have done other projects where I've used 2 floss threads, and it wasn't very fun, to be honest. It looks good when I get done, but it's too difficult. So 1 floss thread over 2 linen threads, 36 count Winter Brew from R&R, and all the called for DMC colors. So that's the other awesome thing about this. It is stitched in DMC, and look at it, it is awesome. And these little eggs in here in her basket, or his basket, are stitched 1 over 1. That was the first time I ever did 1 over 1 stitching. And it was really hard, and I'm examining it. I'm not sure if I did full crosses or if I just did a tent stitch. I can't tell. Well, wait. No, I think I did full cross stitches. So that took some effort, but it looks cute. And then I added the year and my initials on this one. Those are a little different than what I tend to lean toward now, but I really love how I placed them on this one. And those are full cross stitches stitched 1 over 1 to form all of that. So that's the stitching details. Obviously, I framed this up in a box frame. It's actually in there backwards. And I'm not sure if I'll be able to pull this out while I have it on camera. I'll give it a quick try here, but I'll show you. This is what I bought, and I bought it at Hobby Lobby. So this is the actual frame, and this one is in there really snug, so I'm not sure. Like I said, I'll give it a quick try here because I don't want to have you on here forever going, okay, Michelle. Oh. No. You know what? I'm going to pause for a second. All right, I got it apart. So now I can show you, you can screenshot the information if you'd like. And as you can see, it's the back. of the thing with my magnets. And I'm not sure, I may have bought this close to a year ago. I'm not sure. So I don't even know if it would still be there. So I'm gonna try not to make too much noise here, but I'm gonna put this back in here. Sorry for the loud snaps. And let's get another look at that. Oh, I could have showed you the lacing on the back, sorry. I'm not taking it apart again. So I want to share with you a little secret about the bow at the top. If I show it closely, I think you might be able to see that there is a hanger there on here that you could hang this on the wall, this box frame. And what I came up with was to tie a bow on it to kind of disguise it, since I was using this backwards. But I love how this sits down in the frame. So pretty cute, I think. And I love the little ad of, you know, the gingham with this, with all the, because that is actually 310, DMC 310 black in there. So that is B is for Bunny from Lottie Da. Did I ever say the name of the chart? I don't know if I did. No, I did. I know I showed the chart picture, but I am just tickled with this finish too. And now I can look at it. Love it. Love the FFO challenge. Now that FFO March Madness is wrapped up, I don't know if you're asking yourself, what are your plans, Michelle? I'm asking myself. And actually, Jeff is asking me, what are your plans now? And actually, it wasn't worded that way. I was asked if I'm going to relax a bit now that March Madness is completed. So the answer to that is a great big yes. And I want to talk my plans a little bit, but I don't have much in the way of structured plans because I want to continue to have fun doing this. And if I continue with the pressure I put on myself during March, I'm not going to be having fun anymore. And I don't want that to happen. And even worse than not having fun is it would probably lead to me almost like shutting down. Like, I probably would just start picking up and just stitch and do none of the FFO stuff for a while. And I don't want to stop my momentum from that, but I need to ease up on it a little bit for myself and to continue to have fun with it, right? So let's see. I have been doing some stitching during the month of March, and that I will share some more of that in another video because I tried to make this one not be so long, and I have a feeling, even though I've broken it up into several clips, it's going to be just as long as everything else. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to show a couple of things that are part of my sort of loose plans for the month of April. And I'll share with you more going forward what I'm working on, because I do have a couple of other ideas of things I want to pull out and work on, but they're not specifically plans, and I didn't want to take a lot of time to share all that yet. So first with the plans is I have a new start, and I would like to continue stitching on this because I really like it and I really like the colors. Here is the chart picture. It is Hester's special delivery from Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery. I am using all the called for flosses except one, which I'll explain here in just a second. Here is my start. And this doesn't look like much, but this is a fair amount of time of stitching. This flower right here, I think it's sort of a tulip. It is no joke. Like, there's a lot of stitching in that. I don't know, or was it that I was watching the men's NCAA tournament last night and not being able to stitch and focus as much? I don't know. This is a lot of stitching. It is a lot more than what it looks like. I am using 40 count marbled khaki from XJU Design, and I'm pretty sure I've showed this fabric before on some other projects. I really love it, and I love it for spring stitches. So this T right here is a representation of the substitution I needed to make. It was called for, was Gentle Arts Mountain Mist, and that almost blended perfectly with my fabric color. So I pulled out Gentle Arts Green Pasture, and so it's a little darker and it shows up. So that is my start on Hester's special delivery. And this is something that is a fun stitch. I really love the colors, and something I plan on working on in the month of April, unless I get distracted with something else, who knows. The other thing I plan on working on is a whip, and I'm not gonna go over it in a tremendous amount of detail because I have in the past, but it is Teresa Koget's Faith, Hope, Peace, Love. Now, obviously this is the chart picture. And just as a reminder, I talked to you about, I realized that I am one linen thread off on my stitches because when I started this, I didn't really understand how important where you form your X's on linen is, and especially with stitching in hand and moving through it, going up and down the way I have. But I had several people who gave me support and comments and encouragement about how to sort of fix this rather than starting over. And I have decided I'm going to work with what I have. I am probably going to tear some of it out. So here's where I'm at. Oh, there we go. I was afraid I was covering my mouth and I would sound all muffled. There's where I'm at. And this is what I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to leave everything, but this little part here, I'm going to take that out. I've considered tearing out these two flowers, and I may do that too. I haven't decided. For sure, I'm going to take this part out and then adjust for one stitch width, or I'm sorry, one fabric thread width. And then as I work my way back over to this side, I'll just somehow make it work with those stitches. However, I have to end up doing that. And it may mean I have to tear a few things out as I get over there. Like I'm looking at this little branch right here. I might have to adjust that. So I'm gonna work really hard at trying to make adjustments and work through it. So that's the way I haven't pulled it out in March, because I know it's gonna take me some work to get it going again and to make those adjustments. April is a perfect time for me to use this time to sort of give it a good focus. By no means do I expect to finish it this month, or I don't even have specific amount of stitching on that I have in mind. I don't know how frustrated I'll be when I'm working on it, and I want to give myself the grace and the space I need to work my way through it to sort of fix it without feeling so frustrated, and being able to pick it up and still work on it. In a perfect world, this will be finished before October 10th of 2023, which is the 25th anniversary of my first date with Jeff and what we consider sort of our inseparable date on the calendar. Yeah, let me clarify that. It's not date as in going on a date, it's date on a calendar. Anyway, we were inseparable from our first date, and so we tend to celebrate that time all the time, and I think a 25th anniversary of that, this is a really awesome piece to honor that. To wrap up my plans that I'm sharing today, I'm going to spend some time with that lovely husband I was just talking about. We are getting so close to the end of busy tax season in our house, and he is actually doing something he has never done, and he's basically taking the second half of April off from work and is going to be with us a lot, which is awesome. I don't know how much stitching that's going to leave me, how much stitching time that's going to leave me. So that's one of the biggest reasons for the small amount of plans and not a lot of details at the moment. So that is my biggest plan, is to spend some time with him. Although I hope I'll be talking to you before that happens. And yeah, that wraps up everything I wanted to share with you today. Thank you one more time for your participation with my March Madness, FFO March Madness. It was great fun, and voting the champion and feeling like a champion myself with how much I got done was really, you all deserve some of that good feeling of accomplishment too, because it was with your help. So I really appreciate all of that. And as always, I'm going to say thank you so much for sharing your time with me, and I will talk to you soon.